Maybe it's just me, but it's been a long time since a first-person shooter has legitimately intrigued me. I've enjoyed the FPS genre ever since the good old days of GoldenEye 007, but over the past couple of years, things have felt rather stale due to a lingering sense of been there, done that, permeating like a curse. But I can happily say that the curse has been lifted with the release of Overwatch. This is the most fun I've had with a first-person shooter in a while. I simply can't stop playing this game. At a glance, the game might remind you a lot of Team Fortress 2. After all, they are both cartoony, multiplayer, first-person shooters that revolve around fulfilling a specific role in a match and working as a team to complete objectives. But one of the things that makes Overwatch so special is its incredible cast of playable heroes. At launch, the game features a total of 21 heroes separated into 4 roles: offense, tank, defense, and support. With such a large cast, you would think that some of the heroes might bleed into each other, but not one hero plays the same. Some of my personal favorite heroes are Genji, Reaper, Pharah, Bastion, and Widowmaker. Genji is a cyborg ninja who throws shurikens, deflects projectiles, and slices people up with his sword. A direct confrontation with this character will usually result in death due to his fragile nature, but use Genji's dynamic movement, speed, and abilities to your advantage, and he can become a force to be reckoned with. On the other end of the spectrum, you have Reaper, who wields dual shotguns and is all about direct, up-close and personal confrontations, with the ability to turn into an invulnerable specter for a short period of time to back away when danger looms. And then there's Pharah, whose greatest advantage is the ability to rain hell from above with her rocket launcher and jetpack. But maybe you prefer to keep your distance from enemies. Widowmaker will satisfy your needs with her powerful sniper rifle and mobility options. Or perhaps you're more of a stationary kind of player who likes to plant themselves in one place and lay waste to enemies. Then Bastion is probably more of your style. I also tried the hulking tank knight Reinhardt at one point, who while doesn't excel at racking up kills, offers excellent protection to party members and makes for a formidable foe in close quarters combat, offering some incredible tactical advantages. And of course you can't forget about your support characters, who are absolutely vital to any team composition in this game. There's nothing quite like the relief that comes from being revived by Mercy's ultimate during a pivotal moment of a match. Now, a large cast would have little significance without proper gameplay mechanics, but fortunately Overwatch's gameplay is simply stellar. A lot of that can be attributed to the game's simple controls. Every character has a primary fire, mapped to the left click, 2 abilities, mapped to left shift and E, and an ultimate, mapped to Q, and almost everyone has some kind of secondary fire or function mapped to right click. As I mentioned before, no 2 characters are the same, meaning that they all have very different primary fires, secondary functions, abilities, and ultimates. The ultimates in particular are a very welcome addition. These are powerful abilities that can only be used after filling up the ultimate meter, and when used effectively, they can turn the tide of a game, making matches that much more unpredictable and fun. Using these mechanics, players will be engaging in multiplayer matches. Currently, the game only has a handful of game modes and maps, but they all essentially revolve around holding or capturing a certain point. To do so successfully, teamwork is paramount. There is not a single character in the game who can go lone wolf. Every character has a weakness that can be exploited. Genji, while quick, agile, and deadly, is as fragile as glass. Reaper, while powerful and ferocious, is slow and can only output big damage up close. Widowmaker, on the other hand, decimates from long distances, but can do very little in close quarters. And then you have Bastion, who I would describe as a glass cannon. He outputs ridiculous damage, but is easily killed because it's stationary. And the list just goes on and on. Surprisingly, I found most characters to be relatively balanced, seldom finding myself accusing the game for my own failures. While I'm sure tweaks will come with time, I haven't come across any situation in which I felt a character was completely broken. A big part of that has to do with the style of gameplay that Overwatch encourages. The one thing you have to keep in mind to effectively play this game is that the primary objective isn't to rack up kills, but rather to attack or defend your objective. While killing is an integral part of winning, your primary objective is to fulfill the role of your character and help capture points, because not every character is designed to kill. Some are designed to defend, others to heal, others to buff, others to lay down support fire, etc. In this respect, Overwatch is quite MOBA-esque, and the game is very self-conscious about this, which is why this game allows a healer with 0 kills to receive the same kind of acclaim as someone with a ridiculous killing streak. That's because Overwatch keeps track of much more than kills. If you're a healer, it keeps track of how much health you healed. If you're Genji, it keeps track of how much damage you reflected back. If you're Pharah, the game tracks the number of direct rocket hits. If you're Reinhardt, the game tracks how much damage you blocked. Essentially, the stats that Overwatch keeps track of are both very general and very character-specific, and at the end of every match, it's the player who fulfilled their specific role most proficiently that are highlighted, rewarded, and given the opportunity to be commended by other players. Furthermore, at the end of every match, the game chooses one play of the match to show every player through a highlight reel. While it mostly shows the play with the highest kill streak, it may also show a play in which a player shut down an enemy's ultimate, or a play in which a healer kept a shit ton of people alive during a tight situation. It's not perfect when it comes to which play it chooses, but it's an incredible feeling nonetheless when everyone gets to see your awesome moment, and it can sometimes be awe-inspiring to see some of the cool plays that people can pull off. It's little things like this that makes Overwatch so fun to play. The game is all about encouragement and positivity. It only highlights the good things while making things like death counts irrelevant. I think Blizzard was very smart to keep kill and death counts private, as it diminishes the urge to break away from your role in favor of competing against your own team members for the highest kill score. When a team works together like clockwork, some truly phenomenal things can happen. But when one player decides to be a douche, the whole match can fall apart. So to encourage teamwork rather than internal competition, the game smartly sidelines worthless stats in favor of highlighting great moments so that players focus on fulfilling their roles, doing great things with their heroes, working as a team, and completing the task at hand. It's a small thing what they do with the stats, but the game is much less stressful and much more fun for it. Now, as much as I love this game, I do have a couple of complaints. The biggest problem I have is the price tag. It's $40 for the regular version and $60 for the Origin version. And what's shady is that the only version of the game Blizzard advertised is the $60 Origin version. You really have to dig to find the regular $40 one, and even $40 is pushing it. Don't get me wrong, Overwatch is a solid and fun package, but there is simply not enough content to justify such a high price tag. There are only a handful of maps and game modes so far, and there's no single-player campaign, which I think is a missed opportunity. I say this because the world and lore of Overwatch feels very fleshed out. The maps all seem to tell a story with their aesthetics, and they are beautiful to look at thanks to the game's distinct Pixar-esque art style. And the same could be said for the 21 heroes, each of which have their own unique names, attributes, background, and personalities, all of which you can sense in-game through the way they play as well as little things like animations and dialogue. The heroes actually feel like people who are expressing themselves in battle, which makes me want to find out more about them. It truly feels like there's potential for a single-player campaign to develop the heroes' stories, and while the game does feature some information about the heroes, and while you could look up the lore and research character profiles on the internet, or watch the awesome animated shorts that Blizzard has been releasing over the past couple of months, I feel like a story mode could have kicked things up a notch as far as story goes. If the game featured a single-player campaign to flesh out each hero's story, I would have been more than happy to pay $40, but in its current state, I would value Overwatch at $30 tops. Now, the good news is that all additional Overwatch content and DLC will be free, meaning you won't have to pay extra for things like new maps or heroes. The game does feature microtransactions in the form of loot boxes, but it's all cosmetic, so you really don't have to pay anything beyond the initial price tag to fully enjoy the game. Furthermore, you do obtain loot boxes and in-game currency as you play the game and level up, so you'll still be able to unlock cosmetic things, even if at a much slower rate. But aside from the complaints regarding the game's price tag, the small number of maps and game modes, and a lack of a story mode, Overwatch is an absolute triumph. It's gorgeous to look at, the heroes are all unique and exciting to play, gameplay is buttersmooth and encourages teamwork and positivity, and it's just a damn fun game with a ton of personality. For the first time in a long time, I feel legitimately excited to play a first-person shooter. Truly well done, Blizzard. My only hope is that we will get free new content consistently in a timely manner if it intends to keep our attention for years to come. Oh, and one last thing, play with friends. Coordinating with people you know makes this game that much more fun. So there you have it, folks, that concludes my review of Overwatch. Thank you for tuning in. Let us know in the comments below your thoughts about the game if you've played it. And to be further updated on game reviews, stay tuned right here on Yong Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Yong out!